Hello everybody, this is PotterBrony, and welcome to another blind reaction of some more DBCember stuff. This time is the top 25 Dragon Ball villains, part 3. So it's going to be 12 through 7 on this one. Okay, so let's just pull it up here and see what they have in store for us, who they chose from 12 through 7. Now we're going to be breaching the top 10 in this episode, and let's just see who made the cut there. In 3, 2, 1, go.
What even is Pilaf? Is he a demon? A mutant?
I think
Yeah,
he's just
was always
an
confused.
impish little monster boy with dreams of world domination.
Emperor Pilaf is the epitome of a gag villain. Perfect for the infant days of Dragon Ball, he and his companions Shu and Mai
Oh my god, I just got that pun. God damn it, Toriyama.
are a batch of villainous schemers on the hunt for the Dragon Balls in order to control the world. But they aren't quite effective at their job.
I'm pretty sure Team
especially
Rocket
if-
has had more long-term success than these guys.
Especially if
They're
Goku
hardly
keeps,
intimidating, they're wholly ineffectual, and their designation as
defeating- well,
villains is barely qualified by
outsmarting
their
them
overall
too?
motives
Not
and
really
some
outsmarting,
questionable
defeating
acts
them,
they
but
put
yeah.
our heroes through.
But that's not what earns them this spot on the list. They're incredibly memorable, ridiculously endearing, and much like Team Rocket, they're a reliable source of comedy and charm. As Taka said, they were perfect for a series like Dragon Ball.
Even their evolution
True.
into henchmen via King Piccolo works, as their own personal motivations adapt to this scenario, and their own brand of comedy helps give levity to the demonic ruler as he needs it.
You can't deny how funny and memorable these guys are as the original villains of the entire series. So while they may not be intimidating,
Effective,
Or have a deep, complex motive.
they're perfect, just the way they are. A little monster boy, a talking ninja dog, and a full-grown woman with way too much time on her hands.
11.
Yeah,
And now for the exact f***ing opposite.
he's the man, the myth, the guy who wears his job description on his back. He's Tao Pai Pai, also known as Mercenary Tao.
While those who watched very little to none of Dragon Ball have had very little interaction with Tao, he was one of the most dangerous, intimidating, and effective villains in the entirety of the original series.
With the ability to throw a pillar and ride
And
it
then
at the
fly on
speed
it.
of sound, use energy blasts that put the Kamehameha momentarily to shame, and kill men with his tongue, this contract assassin is
Yeah,
a mean
weird.
mother who ends up beating Goku in their
But he
first
caved
battle,
that fucker's head
nearly
in.
killing him.
While most of the other intimidating villains in this series up until now followed strict orders, Tao Pai Pai acted with almost complete autonomy and had very little in the way of comedic relief. He is a cold-blooded murderer.
And then
out
he
for
kinda
Goku's
became
blood
the
and would stop
comedic
at
relief in
nothing.
Dragon Ball Z
Until, you
during
know,
the
getting
Cell
his grenade
Saga.
kicked in his face. It also helps that the actual battles between him and Goku are easily some of the best in the original run, and it's one of the first times you feel like Goku's life is really on the line. This pink parading, ponytail packing professional puts prior prolificates to shame.
Unfortunately, while he's effective at his tasks, his motivations are realistically low. As much, he doesn't quite earn a higher spot on the list. That being said, his first appearance as a villain in the series is remarkably effective, and he stands high as a classic of the franchise.
Also, he comes back as a cyborg. Yeah, it's not quite nearly as cool as it should be.
Do
Yeah.
you think it vibrates?
I mean, what's the point if it doesn't?
10.
Alright, let's see who makes the first in the top 10.
The Red Ribbon Army.
The Red Ribbon Army,
can be seen as
altogether.
a transitional
Okay.
period for Dragon Ball, from being primarily about martial arts and adventure to more of a serial epic. This transition can be felt in the mixture of serious action
Yeah,
and
that's a fair
off-the-wall
point.
comedy that the Red Ribbon Army provides.
Led by the titular Commander Red, this private army's sole purpose is to track down and retrieve the 7 Dragon Balls. They will uproot homes, destroy habitats, and murder men, women, and children for their goal.
Collective villains are rare in Dragon Ball, and the colorful cast, pun fully intended, that is employed by the Red Ribbon Army is a delight. Between Colonel Silver's ice-cold attitude, Ninja Murasaki's utter incompetence as a ninja, and General Blue's divine mixture of effeminate comedy and deadly ability, Goku and his friends have a tough battle on their hands.
They really do cause no end of havoc for the heroes and civilians alike. So Goku's assault on Muscle Tower and Red Ribbon Headquarters is a fantastic series of events, and it isn't until Staff Officer Black, man, and I thought the Black Ranger from Power Rangers was a little on the nose, figures out the true motivation of his commander that things start to take a hilarious and dark twist.
And the Red Ribbon iconography is all over the Android saga. Though that does little to actually influence their position on the list, it is good to recognize their contributions as a whole.
It should be mentioned that most of these guys wouldn't have ranked as high on their own, but together, they're a fantastic and
Yeah, you have to group them to get them up.
and their arc is one of the best in the franchise.
And they broke
you
the top
can
10,
ribbon
so
on that.
not bad, Red Ribbon Army.
Speaking of a villain collective, here we have one of the few villainous teams in the entire franchise, the Ginyu Force.
Rather low on the list.
Toku Sentai! Toku Sentai!
Last entry, we mentioned the Power Rangers. Here, we see a full-on inspiration from the Japanese formula in full effect, with a group of alien mercenaries that are as deadly as they are hilarious.
While the Namek/Frieza saga is known for its
That
high-stakes
awkward look
drama,
on Frieza's
tension, and
face.
the longest 5 minutes known to man,
Okay,
this
that's
gang of
enough.
goofballs runs the gambit of abilities, strengths, and personalities.
The Dairy Dorks are made up of 5 milky members, each based off of dairy products. Ginyu is the Japanese word for dairy. Goldo packs the protein with yogurto, or yogurt. The deadliest combination for your arteries are Jason.
I honestly
as
did not
cheese
know
and butter,
that.
And Rikum is cream, aka cream. Are any of these implicitly sexual to you?
Goldo's ability to stop time
Well, it depends on how you wanna
is new
look
to the
at it.
franchise. But even this game-breaking ability is pushed to the brink up against our heroes. Luckily, he pulls double duty with psychic powers that almost ends with the world's most kid-unfriendly kebab.
The fascinating thing about these guys is how well they get along with each other and how lackadaisical they are
Until
with
he
their
lost
job
his head.
of, well, murdering folks. They Rochambeau to figure out killing order and who will be lucky enough to take up the task, which makes them terrifying when their powers are put into full effect.
And these guys also give Vegeta the biggest run for his money he's ever had. His battle with the rambunctious, eccentric Raccoon is a marvel, full of sweeping attacks and heavy hits. And the accuracy and precision in which Jace and Berta coordinate their attacks would have been a match for any other character, if Goku had not shown up in the nick of time.
It's good he does, too. Every single one of the heroes on Namek is at death's door by the time Goku touches down. But when
Yeah,
Ginyu
it's about
himself
frickin'
shows
time.
off his power of switching bodies, we have an evil Goku on our hands. Suck it, Black!
These guys may be some of the most hilarious and threatening villains in the series, gracing us with marvelous poses, dazzling powers, and even more personality than you can handle. It's almost a shame that they're one and done here, isn't
Sorry.
it? I take it back, Vegeta. Kill them all.
8,
So we've already listed 2 homicidal androids on this
Androids.
list, but here we have the
16,
fresh
17,
young
18
hit
specifically.
villains that would become the major threat of the arc. Or well, that's what Toriyama originally thought anyway.
Yeah. Remember when we said that Toriyama's former editor, Torishima, told him that androids 19 and 20 weren't fit for the role of the big bads? Well, Toriyama then designed androids 17 and 18, only to be told again by Torishima, wait, this time they're just some brats?
Can you imagine what this series would have been like if Toriyama never listened to his editors?
And their total domination over the main cast doesn't stop there. They manhandle every fighter who steps up to them, leading to one of the most one-sided fights Vegeta has ever fought. And that's saying a lot for a guy whose major role in the series is make everything worse, then job as hard as possible.
Jesus, spoilers, Kaiser.
Androids 16, 17, and 18 are exceptionally different from the rest of the villains who made the list. From their piercing cold stares, their consistently casual demeanor, to their relationship with one another, and the motivation that drives them towards Goku. They don't feel like traditional Dragon Ball villains.
Their youth alone makes them stand out, but the way they talk and interact with others gives them this unnerving aura that belies just how deadly they are. And boy, are they deadly. In flashbacks and History of Trunks, we see them murder every member of the main cast, with the exception of non-combatants such as Chi-Chi and Bulma, leaving only Trunks to save the day. For all intents and purposes, these guys won in another timeline. Well, until Trunks finally came back after Cell.
Their character arcs are
Yeah.
also some of the best in the series.
And then they
While the
had no
androids of Trunks'
shot.
future are murderous and unrepentant. Android 16 provides an unintentional moral compass that keeps his 2 siblings from stepping too far out of line. Besides their somewhat minor infractions, he also slowly learns
so
to
they
love
stole
the
some
people around
cars.
him and ends up sacrificing
One
himself
car.
on multiple occasions to protect it, being part of the most powerful moments in all of Dragon Ball.
The points against these guys are largely
Yeah,
that the
16 is
personalities
awesome.
are a little flat. While their development and their casual attitudes work well to sell their intimidating and dangerous nature, they sometimes come off as too subdued. Furthermore, their role in the series is downplayed by the bigger threat that follows. But all that aside, they're a great trio who I'd have loved to see get more development. Hint, hint.
It really is magical to
Yeah.
see Android 16 become
Well, that's
more
your
of a
guys'
star
job
as
now,
time
isn't
goes
it?
on, and also to see Android 18's development after the Cell saga. While Android 17's largest contribution to the series is one of the very best fights in the franchise, his actual development is, well, almost non-existent. But his sister, Android 18, ends up falling for series veteran Krillin. Of course, the downside to this is Toriyama making another strong female character and putting a baby in her for the sake of keeping the status quo, but at least she's still a badass mama.
So, are we going to talk about how they're not androids? How they're actually modified humans, aka cyborgs?
Well, what about Jinzo Ningen? Hey, Kaiser?
Don't be a fucking weeb, Lanny.
7,
Alright.
Some people have a hole in their lives that they try
Piccolo
to fill
Jr.
by having
Or
children.
just Piccolo as we know
Unfortunately
him.
for King Piccolo, there's no filling the hole that Goku left. But his offspring/reincarnation has every intention of following up on his tyrannical papa's wishes for world domination. And more importantly, killing Son Goku.
It should be said up front that Piccolo is one of the best characters in the series, but his role as a villain is short-lived. But whoa boy, is it a crazy run. Shortly after being expelled from King Piccolo's stomach, chest, throat? Seriously, where does it come from? There's a hole the size of a 14-year-old in his abdomen. Anyway, he manages to reveal a demon baby
Literally.
who is quick to explore the new world around him.
Fast forward to the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, and he makes his first appearance as an adult. At first glance, his green skin and devilish grin give him away as the Demon King himself, but it's pretty apparent that this Piccolo is his own Namekian. Well, not Namekian.
No, not yet.
I mean, he is, just not yet.
Under the guise of Junior,
We're
he
not
enters the
supposed to talk about
tournament with
that
his
yet.
eyes set on killing Goku, making his way up the ladder to do so. With an air of mystery and menace, the audience is slowly exposed to this new incarnation of the Demon King. Sinister and murderous, but also less verbose than his daddy was, and adopts his own set of ethics and moral code. Well, with the exception of the whole murdering Goku thing, but what's an evil demon space alien gonna do?
Through his fights with both Krillin and Kami, under the guise of Shen or Hero, depending on your dub, we see shades of his villainy. However, it isn't until the climactic final battle with Goku where we see him come to full fruition as a violent, unyielding monster. He pushes Goku to the absolute limit in one of the most drag-out, visceral, and exhausting fights in the entire franchise.
The techniques and combat prowess on display here run the gamut, from flying to blast to Piccolo's growing ability to a Kamehameha from the feet. Their fights put the best Dragon Ball monster offer on display with
I'd forgotten about that.
choreography, and just, I gotta watch it again.
While Kaiser is busy digging out his blue bricks, let's take a minute to recap the fights before Goku. Piccolo's appearance is a chance for both Kami to come to the forefront as a character in the story, as well as for Krillin to get one of the most satisfying fights the poor little monk gets in the entire show, surprising both the audience and the demon prince?
His battle with Kami also allows us to get a peek into the true nature of Namekians. While it's not explicit, they have a conversation in a language that's distinctly alien, though neither of them would realize this until later in the story. It's one of the few bits of foreshadowing within the series and really adds depth to the story. Also, Piccolo manages to reflect the evil containment wave, or Mafuba, again depending on your dub, in a turn that propels the stakes of the tournament, leading us to the climax.
But what's interesting about Piccolo Jr. is how he develops after his loss. See, most other villains within the series don't really have much to do after they're defeated, mostly because, well, they're dead.
Yeah.
This time, however, Goku makes a conscious effort to spare Piccolo, even providing him the means of recovery via Senzu, and then encourages him to get stronger as so they may repeat this all over again, which then becomes kind of a trend for Goku, for better or worse.
But
Yeah.
it's this act of mercy that allows us to see Piccolo develop from a villain with a laser focus of killing Goku into what would be a steadfast, invaluable member of Goku's entourage. Piccolo joins forces with Goku to defeat Raditz, temporarily adopts Gohan, and even sacrifices his life for the whiny little squirt, giving us a true redemption in Dragon Ball. And it's a beautiful thing. We'd only see a story as complex once more, but, well, we'll get to him soon.
Let it be known, by the way, that I thought Piccolo Jr. and King Piccolo should have been one entity.
I respect your input, I value it, and I disagree with it.
I hear your disagreement, I acknowledge it, and you're wrong.
When General Rildo...
Don't start that. Don't start that. Hashtag when General World. Really? Don't. No, don't start. We're finally getting when Broly out of the way, and you're going to start with that? Although I doubt people really will. Alright, so that was the part 3, 12 through 7 of the top 24 Dragon Ball villains, as produced by Team 4 Star. Yeah, as always, I really can't find any fault with any other logic, anything that they had said. Seems pretty straightforward and pretty accurate. Even when they have to group villains together to have them be viable on the list. Yeah, so I want to thank you all for watching. Looking forward to next week, finish off this list. It seems that 6 through 1 is probably going to be one video, and then December's over, so. Alright, so again, want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Be sure to support the original. Link is in the description below, and until next time, take care. Bye.